This, my mother is behind me. My father is the man that looks like Santa Claus. And then there's 7 children. And then my sisters and their husbands, we all look similar. So that's us. Are there any questions that when you look at these pictures about the picture or observations? My niece, when she was a little girl, my niece Emily, she thought that my dad, she calls her grandpa Papa. She thought that Papa was really Santa Claus. So she would always call him Santa. Okay. So today we're going to talk about writing a research proposal. I was going to say tonight because it's 7 o'clock here. I think it's 9 a.m. there, but it's 7 p.m. here. And just raise your hand so I can see how many of you have ever written a research proposal. Raise your hand if you've written a research proposal for high school or at university. Anyone? Okay. How many of you want to do a research project? Raise your hand if you want to do a research project. Oh, Nurul, you do? Cool. Anybody else there want to do a research project? Well, at least one of you then will benefit from this, but I bet there's more people here that want to. When I was working on my doctorate, I had to write a research proposal. And it was 70 pages long because it was for the doctorate paper. So it depends, the length depends on what kind of research proposal you're doing. If you're doing a research proposal for a short project, maybe only 2 pages. If you're doing a research proposal for a long project, maybe like mine was 70 pages. So the research proposal actually happens after you already have done quite a lot of research. You already know what you want to research. Are there any questions as we get into this? No. Okay. What would you include in a research proposal? I think some people said this last time. Write in the chat, what would you include in the research proposal? Would you include an introduction? Yeah, introduction. Maybe you would include the reason you wanted to do, why you're doing the paper. Yeah, Miss Rita said a background problem. Yeah, what is the problem that you're researching? You've got to have a problem if you want to research what's happening. Why are you having that problem? That's good. Take a minute to think about that. What other things would you need in a proposal? Isha said, find a topic. Yes. You need to find a topic. You need to figure out what you want to research, right? Thanks, Isha. Okay. What is a research proposal? A research proposal is a statement of intent. What do you intend to do in this research project? It shows a couple things. It shows that you are, one, you're academically prepared to complete the research. You're not just like coming up with this idea like after breakfast one day, you know, eating your breakfast and like, oh yeah, I think I'll write a research paper. You actually have to like put some work into it, do some research to even know, is this really a problem that needs researched or is it just an idea I have? And your audience for your proposal would be your peers, people that are in the same program as you. It might be your supervisor, where you need your supervisor's permission to do the research. It could be an examiner. For my dissertation, I had to present my research before a group of people in order to get permission for the research. Or it could be a journal where you want to write a journal article and you have to propose what your article will be about before they say yes or no. Another thing a research proposal is you're showing people the plan. If you think of your research proposal as like a map, that's a great way to think about it. You're giving your peers or your supervisor or the journal, you're giving them a map of what you plan to do. So just like, let's pretend you're in, like you're in, where would you be? Somewhere like in Batam, yeah, and you need to go to Singapore. You would have to tell somebody how to go to the ferry, draw them a map or look it up on Google, do Google Maps, and you pull up the directions and it tells you where to go. That's the same thing with a proposal, is you're pulling up the map to show somebody where you intend to go. So it's your plan. It describes in detail what you will be studying, and people make decisions based on the quality of the proposal. So let's say that you don't really have a good map. People can get lost and confused. And let's say that you need to you need to like show them the way in order for them to agree that it's a good plan, or they might say, you know what, you need a little bit more research before you're ready to do this project. You need to show us that you know more than you're telling us in the project. Okay, so why is a research proposal important? Why is a research proposal important? A research proposal is basically your contract between you and your committee. So if you are a doctoral student or a master's student, how many of you are working on your master's degree? Your master's degree? No, or doctorate degree? Or even bachelor's, you have to write a thesis, right? For your bachelor's degree? Yeah. So this is like your contract. Somebody tell me, what is a contract? What is a contract? You can raise your hand and talk. We don't have to do it all in chat either. So the question is, what is a contract? You're muted. Oh yeah, he's talking. Anyone? Okay. Well, I think you know, but maybe you're just shy to say it. A contract is an agreement. You are making an agreement between you and your committee. And this is saying, this is what I plan to do. And your committee is saying, yes, we agree. This is what you are planning to do. So just like that map or agreement, what you say at the beginning, that's what you need to do at the end of your research project. So it's very important to know what your plan is ahead of time with your research proposal. And it serves to protect you as a student. Like, it protects you because later they can't say, you need to add this thing or this other thing or this other thing. No, like you already have an agreement of what you're doing your project about with your proposal. Okay. It also protects the committee from the student. They know what you have said you will do. So if you don't do it, they can say, sorry, you didn't fulfill your agreement or your contract. You don't graduate or whatever, you know. or maybe you take another semester to graduate. Okay, are there any questions up until this time as we're talking? What questions do you have? All right, so we already talked about what are the essential ingredients. Somebody said a background problem, answering why, what the topic is, an introduction. Those are all things that are included. Let's look at some other things that you would include. So the essential thing you need is, yeah, the topic or the issue. What problem does your research address? So each just said that, and that's exactly the main thing is what are you talking about for your research? And this is something that you have to think about because sometimes you'll think of an idea and then after you do some research, you'll realize, oh, that's actually not a huge problem. Or maybe it's already to have a design for your research project. How will research achieve its objective? So just like, you know, the design for going from Batam to Singapore, you have to drive a car or take a Gojek and then you go to the ferry terminal. You get to the ferry terminal and you have to take a ferry on the water, but your goal is to get to Singapore and go eat some chicken rice or something, something like that, right? So this is the same thing. You have to know if what you're planning for your research will actually get you to your goal or your objective. And then third, benefit. What will this research do? Like, how will it help the world? How will it help maybe a problem that needs an answer or a solution? Or how will it help to add to the knowledge that the knowledge of that subject? So those are the main three things. Can you all hear me all right? Is it good? Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Good. Give me, if you have a question, just raise your hand. I like to have other people talking besides myself. Great. Okay, well, we're going to do a breakout room in a minute, so that's good. So research proposals do a few things. A research proposal makes you as a researcher, it makes you outline the steps in your proposal. So you have to make an outline, you know, 1, your topic, 2, your literature review, what literature has been written about this topic, etc. And you make an outline for your proposed research. It helps provide yourself with an intellectual context. So let's say, for instance, I want to write my research paper on teaching English in rural islands in Indonesia, and small islands in Indonesia. I need to research what's happening in the islands in Indonesia. Is there good training for the teachers happening? Do the English teachers speak English? Or what is happening with those teachers? So you have to kind of research and read the articles that have already been written about the topic. Look up newspaper articles, news shows about teaching in the islands, different things like that, so that you know what the context is surrounding your topic. Be creative. You want to be thinking not just in this little space. You want to be creative and think of many different issues surrounding your topic. So, you know, you might not just read articles, but maybe you talk to, you find out through Facebook or Instagram or something, you find out other teachers who are teaching in the islands, and you message them and you ask them questions. So you can be creative with how you're finding out the context. They make you, proposals make you justify your research. So let's say I want to research about the status of English teachers in Indonesian islands. Why is that important? Like, what that have to give you a reason to justify my research. Sorry, let's see. I'm trying to look at your faces and look at my screen here. It makes you think through your experiments. So how are you going to do this research? Are you going to interview people? Are you going to do a survey? Are you going to visit 10 islands and visit the elementary schools where they're teaching English? How are you going to do the research? So you have to actually think about it. And the proposal helps you do that because you have to say all of these things in your proposal. And last, it helps you anticipate problems. This happened to me when I was doing my dissertation. I actually wanted to do the project I'm telling you about, visiting the islands in Indonesia and researching how English is being taught in the islands. There was a huge problem because I was living in the United States. So travel was expensive. And then when you're working on a dissertation in the United States and you want to do something in another country, you have to get lots of different permissions. So just the permission was very difficult. So I actually had to say, okay, this is too many problems for this research. I'll have to do it after my degree, you know, because I still want to do that research. And it helps you anticipate a realistic timetable. So for instance, with me, I wanted to graduate with my doctorate in 3 years, but to do the research in Indonesia, it was take too much time for my project. So I had to be realistic and say, okay, I need to do a different project now. And when I have more time and more money, I can do the research project I want to do. So I liked the one I did, but I had to abandon my first idea. Okay, this is a lot of things here, so don't freak out here. Getting started, you want to know the requirements before you start. So the requirements, here, I'm just going to stop sharing for a second. So the requirements for different programs are different. So you need to read your directions very carefully because not all programs ask for the same requirements. Some may ask for 20-page literature review. Others might ask for 2-page literature review. So you need to read the directions on your assignment for the research proposal because you have to pay attention to that and do what they're asking. So for example, one, if you look on the left side of your screen here, let me use the spotlight. One program might ask for a title, and then they want you to give an outline. Another teacher might ask for a title, a background, a problem statement. So they're different, right? They have similar things that you're writing in your proposal, but in a different order. So you just need to pay attention and know the requirements before you start. All right, so the title is like an address that you type. Let's look at the first thing, a title for your research paper proposal. This is like an address that you type into Google Maps. So this is saying, where do you go? Okay, you give your title. It's like, let's say for mine, I would say, studying the studying the quality of English teaching in the Riau Islands of Indonesia. Okay, that would be my title, and it just tells you exactly what I'm writing my research proposal about and what I want my research to be. You want to give a mini abstract. This is like a short summary of what your research paper is going to be about. It needs to be clear, it needs to be concise, and you want your subject first. Okay. Whoa. Sorry, I don't know what happened here. Let me get back to the, we're still there. Okay, the next thing is your problem statement. So if you look at that focus thing, this is saying, so what? Like what is your research for? What's the problem? So this is the basically telling you what your focus is. It helps you keep on track. You always go back to your problem statement. The problem is this. This is why I'm reviewing the literature about this problem. It helps you focus your committee so they know what your problem is and what you're researching. And it keeps you on track throughout your proposal. Okay, so we're going to try this here. So this is called a problem tree. A problem tree is a great way to think about what your problem is. Let me annotate this so I can show you. So let's say you have a problem here, okay? Somebody write in the chat a problem for us. I'll just give an example. What's a problem that you know needs some research? You know, like diabetes in the United States, or something in Indonesia that needs research. Everybody think of one thing and write one thing in the chat. Okay, so what is a problem? What is a problem that needs some research? I just want somebody to give me an example so we can do this. In Indonesia, let's say in Indonesia, okay? What's a problem that needs research in Indonesia? Or what's something you're thinking of researching? We can help you with it right now for your thesis. Oh, that's a good one. All right, so cool. Let's do this first one that Kinza said. Okay, so corruption, but you can write some more because you might get some ideas here. All right, so let's say corruption. Okay, so the main problem is corruption. With an O, there we go. Okay, corruption. So what are some things in Indonesia that cause corruption? So if you think of a tree, what are the things underneath the surface that are causing corruption? Oops. Okay, so write in the chat for corruption. What are some causes of corruption? Oops. Sorry, that's not where I want that. Ah, there we go. So somebody said selfishness. Yep. People are selfish, so they take money that is not theirs. That's a good one. What's another cause? Why is corruption a problem in Indonesia? What's the causes of it being a problem? Yeah, there we go. Dishonesty. People They don't think they'll get caught, right? So they're dishonest about it. They want the money. What's one more cause of greed? Yeah, okay. So greed, I would put greed with selfishness, yeah. One more. What's one more thing here? What about they're not punished, like people aren't punished for corruption very much, or I don't know what you would say that for a cause, like something like no consequence. I don't know if that's true, but let's just say that no consequence for the corruption, right? So let's say a police officer pulls me over and instead of giving me a ticket, he says, give me 1 juta and then you can go, right? So, and then the police officer puts it in his pocket and I leave and he leaves. So no consequence for me, well, it's a consequence for me. I have to give him a lot of money, but for the police officer, no. Yeah, or the punishment is not worth it. That's, yeah, like not, yeah, there we go. Weak punishment. That's a better way to say that. Okay, so good. We got that. And then what are the effects of corruption in Indonesia? What's the fruit? If you think of like the effects of like pieces of fruit, right? What's the fruit on what are the effects on so let's say there's greed. Greed causes corruption. What's the effect? Poverty. Yep. That's a huge effect. Yep. Okay, what about dishonesty? Dishonesty causes corruption. So then what's the fruit of that? What about like people don't believe in yep. People don't believe in the government because they're not being honest. Okay. And then no consequences or little to no consequences. Yeah, it's called anarchy. It's chaotic governance. That's a way to say anarchy, where people do what they want. Okay. It's not spelling that. Chaotic governance. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to say that. So, okay, you guys just have written a problem statement basically. So let's in the chat box, I'm going to show you how to turn this problem tree into a problem statement. So what would my first sentence be? Let's say a main problem in Indonesia is corruption. Okay. If I could spell, okay, corruption. The causes of corruption, I'm writing it in the chat if you want to look at it. The causes of corruption are greed, dishonesty, and little consequence, or like not strong enough consequences. Okay, so there you've got your first 2 sentences for your problem statement. The effects of corruption in the country are poverty, low, what would you say? poverty, chaotic, let's see, lack of trust in the government, right? Or people don't believe in the government, lack of trust in the government. And chaotic governance. I like that phrase. All right, so that is how you want to put together a problem statement, right? And corruption is something we're all familiar with because we've faced it, but for another problem, you might have to do more research to find out what are the causes and what are the fruit of that. But this is actually very helpful in like our personal life as well. You know, like you can use this problem tree for problems in your family. You could use this problem tree for problems in your city to try to get to what are the reasons for this problem and then what happens because of this problem. So I use this for a lot of things, actually, not just my research proposal. All right, wow, we're running out of time here. Let me move on here. Okay, so here's another example that I made when I was looking at let me clear this out here. Okay, so this is a problem tree I made. The main problem, I don't know if you guys can see that. Is it big enough? Can you see it? So the main problem is little access to quality teacher training for teachers in the smaller islands in Indonesia. So like, let's say you're in Jakarta, yeah, you have easy access to teacher training. But let's say you're in, Bintan or even a smaller island, Sugi Island in the Riau, you know, it's a small island. So the main problem is there's little access to quality teacher training. So what are the reasons or the causes for this? Well, there's 17,000 islands in Indonesia, right? There's a low English level for many teachers because maybe they didn't have good training. So, or there's poor modeling. You know, they haven't had a good example of how to teach. So they haven't had a lot of, maybe some of the teachers have not had interactive teaching, so they just use the book and they teach and the students just write for that, okay? So what are the effects of that? There's poor teaching. Some of the other fruits or effects is that students don't learn English, or teachers lose the motivation and they just sit at their desk and the students just play at their desk like they don't pay attention, right? So, but maybe there's something else. Maybe there's another cause for why the teachers don't have access. Maybe like they don't have internet, or, you know, you don't know. So that's where you would research, is where the gap is. There's a space that you don't know the answer. Are there questions about the problem tree? What questions do you have with that? Okay, well, we just have a few minutes left. So what I want to do is actually give you a chance to make a problem tree in a group. So let me see here. I need to get out of, this is like not letting me get out of my annotating. Sorry, it's like frozen my screen here. Ugh. Oh, there we go. Okay, great. Actually, I don't know if we have time to do that. So we'll just move on. But what I would recommend is in your on your own, for whatever you're wanting to research, create that problem tree or just do it for practice after class so you can actually get the how to do it. We probably need like 5 classes to really do this like in depth, but I'm trying to give you like a summary of it, okay? So how can you use your problem tree to create your problem statement? We just did that. State the problem, then state the causes, and finally state the effects. So a good problem statement, you want your problem statement to be concise, like very clear, not real wordy. One sentence stating the problem so that the reader can read that sentence and understand. You want to be specific, have a focused paragraph that summarizes the causes and effects of the problem. And then measurable, like how often does this problem happen? Like for corruption is widespread, right? So, like it's hard, you can find it everywhere. Like the roads are bad because people get paid off to get the bid for the road and they have to pay people. And then the road is bad in the end because they don't have money to fix the road. So like something like corruption affects everything. It's measured in every area of a country where there's corruption issues. And then specific, you want to say who is impacted. So you said that in your problem statement about corruption. There's poverty. People are affected because of corruption. The whole country is affected because money is being taken from where it shouldn't be taken. Okay, next thing after your problem statement is your literature review. This is not just summarizing what you've read. This is showing how your research supports what you're researching, your hypothesis. It extends previous work. It avoids previous mistakes. I really want to be in the room with Aldi and the other people because you guys look like you're having fun in there. I think you guys, some of you are in the same room, yeah? The same office. Nice. Okay, and you avoid previous mistakes and it's unique to previously followed paths. All right, so let's look at this. So this is how a good literature review would go. You start at the top at the wide funnel. Here's the funnel, right? So you start at the top and you start with what the reader knows. So this is where you start with what you know about the topic. Okay. Next, you go down to what you know everybody knows, and then you go down to what the reader does not know. You want to introduce the field. So you start out with a broad focus, and then so for my topic, the broad focus is Indonesia, right? And then teacher training in Indonesia. And you want to focus on certain aspects in the field of interest. So my focus would be English teachers, teacher training for English teachers. And then the next one is the remote islands. So you want to get it more narrow, right? You don't want to say teacher training in all of Indonesia. Like it's way too big. So you want to get down to more narrow. And even remote islands would be too big too. You probably would want to say like the Riau Islands or something more specific. And then end with the gap analysis. So you're saying, I say there's a need for new ways of teacher training. That's like the gap where it's like, okay, teacher training is not effective in some of these islands. So this is what I'm researching. Is there a need for new ways of teacher training? Okay, and I would show that by all the literature that I've read about teacher training in the islands in Indonesia, which there is quite a bit actually of research for that. Okay, so the final point, the very tip, is your purpose. The purpose can be framed as a research question or hypothesis. Again, be concise, like to the point. One sentence and give the solution to your problem. So you want to support the hypothesis. So you, in your literature review, you would say, Indonesia, I would say something like, there's an abundance of teacher training in Indonesia, but for various reasons, English teachers in remote islands in Indonesia do not receive as much effective training. There's a need for new ways of teacher training. So that's my hypothesis, is we need new ways of teacher training for the islands that are more effective. Okay, so then you would make, after you do that literature, you need to make a list of everything you reference. So if you read 20 articles, you need a reference list. If you're doing like MLA style or APA style, you need to do those different styles. So if you're using the internet to research, you want to narrow down your search terms. Like I could not just put in Indonesia for my search term. It would bring up like a bazillion million topics. So I would need to say English teacher training in Indonesia and make it specific. You want to look for articles that are peer reviewed. It means other people have read them and said this is a good article. And you want it to be current literature. Like for my dissertation, I had to do look at articles within 5 years. So right now you would want to look at articles from like 2017 to 2021. You don't want to be looking at stuff from like 1999. Maybe at the very beginning you could have one or two things that give you the history, but then after that have newer research. Secondary versus primary. Who can tell what's the difference between secondary versus primary research? Okay, so primary research is where you're going to the original source. So you're reading an article written by an author. A secondary source, or a secondary literature is like you read a quote inside another document. So let's say like Aldi wrote, let's say Mr. Aldi, you wrote a paper about something and you quote Icha or Fitri, you quote somebody, right? And the quote is the secondary research. So let's say I decide to use that quote, I would need to kind of go to the primary source. Where did that quote come from? Okay. Plagiarism is a huge deal with research. You need to reference immediately after you mention somebody else's words. If you say somebody else's words, you need to put the parentheses and put who said that. So if you're quoting me, you would need to say Mahoney 2021 after your thing. And not like right at the end of a whole paragraph. You need to put it in the sentence that the idea is. Always identify your sources. Summarize useful points. Okay, so sometimes if you're summarizing like 3 different sources, you have 3 different authors that you cite at the end. So maybe it would say something like Mahoney, Karinsiska, and Puri. Okay, so it's like 3 authors. You would quote all of them at the end if you're doing like a summary there. So 2021, just all the authors. Sorry, I'm writing it in the chat. 2020 and 2018. Okay. Okay, you would want to cite everybody. Oh, I didn't do that right. You need a comma after Puri. Okay. I think we're running out of time, yeah? So I didn't finish everything, but let me just go to the summary here. Okay, so let me just go to what you want to avoid when you're writing your research proposal. You want to include a table of contents. Don't forget that. And you need to connect what you're researching with the literature review. You need to give details about how you're going to do your research. And you want to avoid like general things. And you don't want to rely on your supervisor. You want to be pretty independent with your project. Okay. All right, so there's a lot more here. I can send this proposal if you want to, but basically I gave you a good starting point for your writing your research proposal is find the topic, research what are the causes and what are the effects of that problem, and that will be your problem statement, and that will help you get to your hypothesis. And then you can do the literature review and decide what the best method is for your research project, whether you're going to do a survey or whether you're going to do a maybe a interviews of people, or maybe you're going to do focus groups. You can decide that, and that would be where you'd say your methodology for your project. All right, I think that's enough. That was a lot of information for one morning, one Sunday morning. Let's see. Okay, any questions as you're looking at that?
Okay, I would like to say thank you first for Miss Selena. We are sorry because last time we still discussing about your problem tree, so we.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just giving you a hard time. No problem.
We try to look for another example. What's the main problem in our country? So that's why we are looking funny.
No, it's fine. I was enjoying the seeing you guys talking, so it's fine.
But before, I would like to say thank you for the problem tree. That's the great lesson. This is the first time I learned about the problem tree, and maybe I will try to practice it in my research proposal.
Great.
Thank
Good.
You,
yeah, you're welcome. I hope it was helpful. I think for me, the problem tree has been very helpful because it really gives you a clear way to think about the problem.
For sure. So now we are beginning to the question and answer section. So for everybody who wants to ask the question, please chat in the chat box, or you can directly raise your hand and ask for Miss Selena. So now the time for the question and answering section. So everybody please enjoy it. Anybody wants to ask the question? Oh, sure.
Great. So do we need to put academic writing in the research proposal? Because I'm still learning English now and don't have much of academic words yet in English. If you mean like fancy words, it's okay. Write it how you write it with the English you know. Don't try to put in words that you do not know. So yes, you want it to be academic, but academic doesn't mean like complicated. Academic can be using the vocabulary that you know. That's better because it will be more clear than if you try to put in synonyms of, you know, a word but you don't really know what that means. So use the English that you know. That's my recommendation. It's a good question. Ooh, this is a good question. Zahratul said, what kind of research method is preferred to be conducted nowadays? Like, do you mean like quantitative or qualitative, like that kind of thing? I think it depends. It depends on what your goal is for your research. So when I did my dissertation, I did qualitative research because I was looking at how multinational leaders use storytelling in their leadership. So I needed to hear from these leaders what their experiences were, what their lived experiences were. So I interviewed 10 different leaders around the world, and it was qualitative because it was interviews. But then let's say you need something that's measurable with numbers and data, then you would want to do something more quantitative where you are trying to measure something that needs actual like exact numbers. Then you would want to do more quantitative. But it depends on what your goal is. There's not like one one way you have to do it. Like right now in my job, we're doing a needs assessment for the refugee students in my school district. So we did surveys, we did interviews, and we did focus groups. So that's one thing, is you want to have triangulation where you have different points to help with the reliability and credibility of your research. You don't want to just do one type of method. You want to have at least a couple types of method of research. Did that answer your question? Zahratul? All right, any more questions? You can ask me questions that are not related to the research proposal too. It's fine. Oh, let's see. Zawart will say, okay, can you give me some advice to find appropriate supervisors for the research proposal? Yeah, if you can choose, then probably if it's at your university, if you are allowed to choose, then I would recommend choosing professors that have some background in what you're interested in researching, and people like professors that you get along with, because you'll need their help all along the way with your research. So it needs to be somebody that's willing to help and give you input and that's honest. Those are honest about like critical, like constructive criticism, so how you can do your project better. Those are all important things.
Okay, anyone else would like to ask the question? Raise your hand. If you don't have any question, then
Oh, there's one more question here. So Rizi asked,
okay.
what is the common mistake that people do when starting a research project? The most common mistake is you start out way too general, too broad, and then it's too big for you to research. So my biggest recommendation is narrow it down, and then after you narrow it down, even get more specific, because the more specific you are, it's still hard, but the easier it is if you're more specific instead of too general.
Miss Selena, I would like to ask you a question actually.
Okay.
I'm actually a little lack in technology, so I'm not sure how to make a research proposal. So I mean, for the reference and any other things, do you have actually any tips or any idea how actually I can make a great design of research proposal? Because I with my skill right now, I'm like little lack at technology and finding the research. I mean the reference.
Finding the references. Yeah, that is difficult. It's challenging. Like, I don't know if your university has subscriptions to journals or but like one thing that I used that really helped me was Google. You've probably heard of Google Scholar. Yeah. Google Scholar. So you can find a lot of journals on Google Scholar, and then I would recommend limit your search to full text articles, because that will bring up articles that have the whole article. Okay. Ooh, Myra just asked a good question. An example of a good proposal. That, Myra, I don't have a lot of examples of that, but I would just recommend searching, do a Google search for let's see, like example of college research proposal. Yeah, I would say something like do a Google search of like examples of college research proposals, and I think you'll find some good ones there. Aldi, another thing for just looking back at your question is Google Scholar would be good. If there's like some library in your town or city that has internet, like online sources, that would be good too, because they might have subscriptions to journals. Like my university had a subscription to EBSCOhost, and you can look at EBSCOhost. EBSCOhost is a good one. I'm trying to think of what other things that I used for that. Yeah, so library internet research, they might have subscriptions to journals. Like if you're in a larger city, go to the library there, like in Yogyakarta, or are a lot of you in Aceh right now? Yeah, so yeah, maybe in Aceh, if there's a library in the city or the university, ask the librarian about what journals they subscribe to. That might be helpful.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for your explanation. That's a good research.
Great. Great. I hope it helps. I hope it helps. If you have any questions, let me give you my email.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
Yeah. So here is my email. Just email me if you have questions. If I know the answers, I'll tell you, or I'll tell you, sorry, I don't know. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
So, for everybody, do you still have any question for Miss Selena? Anybody? I guess there's no question more, and we are in the end of the class today.
All right. Well, I just want to take a moment to say thank you all for your time. It's been such a pleasure to be here talking with you for this hour. And I just wish you all the best in your college career or your research or in your business career. And it's just been such a nice time to get to spend with all of you. Thank you very much.
So we also want to thank you because this great lesson today. We were actually many of us start from the first class till now. Maybe lots of them are shy to turn on their camera, maybe, or asking the question. But we surely listen to you because they actually just shy and don't know how to make a research proposal as like me, because many of them are in the fourth semester right now or even in the second semester, so they just learn about how to make a research proposal.
Okay.
And in our curriculum, it's gonna start at the sixth semester. That's why we don't know anything about the research proposal, and you give us a good lesson, so we can at least learn how to make it good at first. And so I would like to say thank you very much, Miss Selena.
Yes, thank you.
And now I would like to ask you to take a picture along with us in this Zoom meeting.
Oh,
Do you mind
great.
that?
Yeah, if more people can turn your cameras on so you're in the
sure.
photo, that would be nice.
Okay.
I know some people.
For everyone, for everybody here, please turn on your camera because we're gonna have a picture with Miss Selena. And yeah, for what we can say that memory, or yeah, memory, we can say that. So please now turn on your camera, everybody. I would like us to ask you one more to turn on your camera. Okay, everyone, let's turn on your camera because we're gonna have a picture with Miss Selena. That's incredible. Our incredible speaker today. Okay. Okay. Now we're gonna have pictures. So I would like to count till three. So please, everybody, give your best smiling, your smiling face. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Berapa slide? So okay, for the last slide. 1, 2, 3. Done. Okay. So, Ms. Elena, thank you very much for the material. If you don't mind, I would like to ask you in your email, as you sent me before, because maybe we are gonna have lots of trouble when we make a research proposal. So, if you don't mind, we will ask you in your email chat.
Yep, that's fine. Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to meet all of you. Have a good day.
Good day, Miss.
Bye. Happy Sunday. Bye.
Thank you, Miss. Udah, selesai.
First, my honorable given to Husnul Yakin as the founder of Cotkala English Fun. My honorable given to Hajarul Fajri as the head of the Cotkala English Fun, and my last honorable given to all the invited guests. As today's agenda is the closing ceremony of the International Online Learning classes, which we have started from 28th of March until 23 of May. It's been 6 weeks along. There are There are 100 participants from several universities who are very enthusiastic for participating in the class from week to week. And on this occasion, we will hold a quiz at the end of the event for participants who have been enthusiastic about this program. This program is a collaboration between English Department, Cotkala English Fun, and the Menuai Masa Depan Foundation. I would like to thank Mrs. Nina Afrida for always giving us her support. Thank you to the first Vice Rector and Vice Dean for taking the time to attend here virtually. Thank you to the public relations of IAIN LANGSA who have attended. Thank you for the Menuai Masa Depan Foundation that have collaborated for this program. Thanks to native speakers for their times and knowledges. Thank you to all the committees who have worked hard to prepare this event until now. We apologize for all the shortcomings of both facilities and unsupportive conditions. I hope that in the next programs, the participants can participate again. Here, I also want to inform you all that we are from Cotkala English Fun. Kindly love to open any cans of our collaborations, so feel free to visit our Instagram under the name @Cotkala English Fun for more collaborations. I'm Basma Hajar Asri Tiba. As a head of the committee, would love to say thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much for Basma Hajar Asri Tiba as a head of committee in International Online Learning class. So for the second speech, this is welcoming remarks delivered by Miss Nina Afrida, MPD, as a Chief of English Department of IAIN LANGSA. But today, she got a problem because she's getting sick right now. So we directly move to the welcoming speech by the head of Menuai Masa Depan Foundation for Miss Rida Evelina. Time and place is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Aldi. Okay, thank you. The Honorable Vice Rector of IAIN LANGSA, the Honorable Vice Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, and the Honorable Head of TBI Faculty, beloved all participants and all the committees that involved in this event.
I'm sorry, Miss.
Yes.
We cannot hear your voice. For
Oh,
sure.
yeah? Oh, okay, sorry. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Hello?
Now we hear your voice. Thank you, Miss.
Okay. Should I start again? Okay. The Honorable Vice Rector of IAIN LANGSA, the Honorable Vice Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, Mr. Julfitri MA, the Honorable Head of TBI Faculty, and beloved all participants and committee here that gather here in Zoom meeting. Thank you for the chance that given to me to deliver a speech or closing speech or welcoming speech as the representative of Menuai Masa Depan Foundation. Okay, it's such a great honor to work together with Cotkala English Fun, IAIN LANGSA, to have these international classes that already held for these 6 meetings start from 28 March. Thank you for your corporation. Thank you for your hard working. And maybe if there were some obstacles or difficulty during the meeting, but because of your hard working, all the obstacle can handle well and the meeting can run smoothly. Okay. We are really sorry if there was mistake from us, and maybe in the future, if God's law, we can work together in the future. As you know, our foundation Menuai Masa Depan focus on education and educating teachers, students, and related to education, specifically in English competency and in soft skills. And also, we are focused on social fields. So if you guys want to follow on our social media, please follow on our IG Menuai Masa Depan. We have a lot of program here. And if there is participant here, maybe you want to support us with our foundation, you can contact us in our social media at Menuai Masa Depan. Okay, and thank you for this cooperation between Cotkala English Foundation, IAIN, and also Menuai Masa Depan. We hope that it will bring such a great effect for all the students here that can improve your English competency. I guess that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Miss Rida Evelina for the speech delivered. Now we move to the others welcoming speech delivered by the first Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, Dr. Zulfitri SAG MA. For Dr. Zulfitri SAG MA, time and place is yours. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. You hear me? Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Praise be to presence of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, who has given us grace and gift so that we can gather virtually. Salawat and salam given to our Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. My honorable given to Mr. Dr. H.M. Suhaili Supian MA as the first Vice Rector of IAIN LANGSA. My honorable given to Dr. Julfitri SAG MA as the past Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty. My honorable given to PR IAIN LANGSA. My honorable given to Mrs. Nina Afrida MPD as the head of the English study program. My honorable given to Mrs. Rida Evelina as the head of Menuai Masa Depan Foundation. My honorable given to all native speakers that the last program by Selena Mahoney. Yeah. And we cannot mention name by name. My honorable given to Husnul Yakin as the founder of Cotkala English Fun. My honorable given to Hajraul Fajri as the head of Cotkala English Fun. And my last honorable given to all invited guests. As today agenda is the closing ceremony of the international class, which we have start from 28 March until 23 May. It may it been 6 weeks, yeah, 6 weeks long. There are 100 participants from several universities who are very enthusiastic for participating in the class from week to week. And on this occasion, we will hold a quiz at the end of the event for participants who have been enthusiastic about this program. This program is cooperation between English Department, Cotkala and Langsa, Cotkala English Fund, and Menuai Masa Depan Foundation. I would like to thank to Ms. Nina Afrida for always giving and her support. Thank you for the first five rector and past dean for taking the time to attend her virtually. Thank you to the public relation of IAIN LANGSA who have attended. That thank you for Menuai Masa Depan Foundation that has collaborate for this program. And thank to native speakers for their time and knowledge. And thank you to all committee who have worked hard to prepare this event until now. We apologize for all the shortcoming of both facilities and unsupportive conditions. I hope that in the next program, the participant can be participate again. He also wants to inform you all that we are from Cotkala English Fund kindly love to open any kinds of cooperation. So feel free to visit our Instagram under the name Cotkala English Fund for more cooperation. And for the last one, uh, I think we 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 have heard about the Pak Rudi Iswadi MTH who passed away tomorrow, last week, last day, I mean, and we thanks to all her job in IAIN LANGSA, and also says Al-Fatiha for him. Yeah? And that is all I can say. And let's enjoy the program Zoom meeting. And I say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for Dr. Zulfitri SAGMA for the speech. And now we are going to the closing ceremony by sorry, I got we are going to the closing ceremony delivered by Dr. Haji Muhammad Suhaili Sufyan LCMA. For Dr. Muhammad Suhaili Sufyan LCMA as a Vice Rector of IAIN LANGSA, time and place is yours. Thank you very much.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Salatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Ladies and gentlemen, and all of participation of this English online lectures. Firstly, I would like to say thank you for all of stakeholders have been conduct this online classes, especially for English department, Faculty of Tarbiyah, State Institute for Islamic College, LANGSA, and for Bu Rida from the Menuai Masa Depan Foundation, and all of the facilitators who has been participate to conduct this class for 3 months or 6 classes. On behalf of State Institute for Islamic Studies, LANGSA, we strongly appreciate for this online class initiative to conduct these valuable online class activities that has been going on successfully for 6 online classes facilitated by expert facilitators in the field of English teaching from around the world. Thank you especially for Bu Nina, Bu Rida from Masa Depan, Menuai Masa Depan Foundation, and everyone have been participated to make this collaborative going successfully. To our facilitators, especially Mr. David, Miss Perrin, Miss Sondang Amelia, Miss Selena, and Caroline, and all of participate. We strongly say thank you for conduct these classes and to your contribution to give the opportunities to our student to increase his ability in English. So thank you for this collaboration, and we hope we'll be conduct in the next time, and we'll be continue to conduct the very interactive classes in English. And on behalf of management of State Institute of Islamic Studies, we say thank you for this collaborative, and we say Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. We officially close these collaborative classes, and thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for Mr. Dr. Suhaili Sufyan, Muhammad Suhaili Sufyan LCMA for the closing speech. And I would like to say thank you for the all delivered speech by Basma Hajar Asri Tiba, Miss Rida Evelina from Menuai Masa Depan Foundation, and Dr. Zulfitri SAGMA as the Dean of Tarbiyah Faculty, and for Dr. Haji Muhammad Suhaili Sufyan LCMA. Thank you for all your delivered speech, and closing speech for today, and hopefully this class will be useful for us, for every participants here, and hopefully we as a human can get a better person after we have this class, after we learn from this class. I am personally say sorry. I'm apologize for all my mistakes as a moderator today, and I would like to say thank you for all the participants and the committee who has worked hard till now. So we can say, even though there are lots of problems we can close this class successfully. Thank you for all participants and speakers, and also who delivered the speech before. I'm Ginaldi Anhar. Good good afternoon for everybody, and assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And now, after we close the class, we have several games for the participants. At least we're gonna have a fun time after a tiring class. So for everybody, please do not look out from the Zoom first, because we're gonna have an interesting game. So for Mr. Dr. Zulfitri, or for Mr. Dr. Haji Suhaili and Miss Rida Evelina, if you want to stay in this Zoom, that's okay. For seeing our game, that's okay.
Okay, thank you for these opportunities, ladies and
Thank you,
gentlemen.
sir. Thank you, Mr.
We leave this meeting group. Thank you.